Alright, hello everyone and welcome to another cleaning and restoring. In this episode we will be doing a PS2 controller. Obviously it is very similar to a PS1 controller. However, this one, if I could unwrap the wire any quicker, this one has analog sticks. Now there are some PS1 controllers that have analog sticks, so I guess you could just follow this if you're doing a PS1 controller. It's probably relatively close to the same. Just these back buttons are slightly different and it has these. But that's beyond the point. Basically, the only reason I'm doing this is, for one, to get a video out. And two, because this is my friend Teeohh's controller. Go to his channel in the description. And these back buttons, it may not seem like it, but they're horribly sticky. So I'm going to try to clean these before anything else, because the controller isn't really that dirty. Just those back buttons. So all you would need for cleaning and restoring a PS2 controller, trying to get the wire out of the way, is a regular Phillips head screwdriver. And there is a lot of screws that you have to take out. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 screws. There's one on each end of the handles, 2 right behind the bumpers, and then 2 in the middle right here. 1 slightly off center, which kind of bugs me, but obviously I can't fix that. So you're going to take out every one of these tiny little screws. You're going to be really careful because these screws are tiny. The one back by where the wire is usually the hardest one to get out because it's holding the most stuff in place, if that makes sense, because it has the wire to hold in place along with all the electronic boards that connect to the wire. These screws and controllers never want to come out without a fight. So while I'm taking these screws out, let me just say that I have good news. I have a game bit for a screwdriver in the mail right now. It should be here. There's not even a screw in that hole. I think there is a screw in there. I was just shredding it basically. Good news, I have a game bit in the mail today. As of today, I should say. It should get here next weekend, I should say. On Saturday is the estimated delivery time. And when I get that, that means I'll be able to take apart the N64, the SNES, cartridges for both those games, NES cartridges, Game Boy cartridges. Oh, I felt that hit my toe. Oh, I dropped that. Alright, got another screw up. So I'll be able to do a lot more once that screwdriver bit comes in the mail. So that's really exciting. But I guess that's just good news. There's not really anything else for me to say besides unscrewing screws is a pain. Especially if you're doing it at 11 o'clock at night like I am. Especially when screws don't want to come out of their holes. You have them completely unscrewed, they just don't want to fall out. Alright, I'm going to take the rest of the screws out off video so you guys aren't sitting there biting your thumbs. Okay, I finally got all the screws out. I had to bring in this screwdriver, which you've probably seen a lot, and this one. This one didn't do anything to help me. I just thought it might, but it didn't. Alright, so once you got all 6 screws out, you can take the 2 halves of the controller apart. Depending on how old your controller is and how much it's been used, it might be crusted together almost, if that makes sense. That adjective was not a good one to use because it made me sick to my stomach just thinking about it. But so when you take them apart, these 2 buttons, the 2 1 buttons will come out, and I can see that there's something like soda or something on the side of it stuck to it basically. So these controllers are designed oddly on the inside because they have these buttons which are on the bottom half of the controller. Usually the controller just comes out all in one piece. So you're going to want to try your best to basically take the brain of it out carefully. Make sure you don't bend or break anything because that would be horribly bad. So once you got that piece out, you can set it aside basically. Alright, then you're left with this, which is just the classic take off the rubbers, and you can wash them and then put the buttons back in, and you can, yeah. This actually looks like it's been taken apart before. I'm not sure. I don't think it's broken. Never mind, I was just kidding. Just take off all the rubbers and then take out all the buttons Ew, that one was, all these buttons are really dirty. Good thing I'm cleaning this intensely. So you're left with this, which yours probably isn't light blue unless it's the exact same one as this one, which would be cool. But you can wash this, you can wash all your little rubbers, and you can wash all your little buttons and various plastic pieces. So now we're going to go with this, which is basically a pain in the tuchus if I've ever had one. So you're going to want to wiggly, 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 jiggly these white things out. This one actually came out on its own. I wasn't sure how. But you should probably leave the rubbers on just to be safe. But once you get them off, then you can get the two buttons out. The two buttons will come out pretty easily. That's what I really need to wash, is the two buttons. But, so this one still has it intact, so I'll show you better. The two button right here, this one's really bad. Good thing I'm cleaning this controller. So you're going to basically take the white part by the side and try your best to get it out. I mean, it does take a little bit of maneuvering to get out. Sometimes pressing in the two button can help. There's really no easy way to do it besides just pull it off. As you can see, I'm just destroying this thing trying to get it out. There we go. That did not want to come out without a fight. So then you're left with this. You can finally take your two button out that you've been fighting to get out. So you're left with this, which is the bottom half of the controller. You can obviously wash that. Then you're left with this, which you want to put, you're left with this, which you want to put far, far away from any other parts of the controller that are being washed. And yeah, basically just wash everything. This should be back in here. Alright, I'll put everything back together on camera. Just wash everything. Basically, the sides of the buttons are going to be what's the worst because they get like stuff build up on them over time and it's just gross. So I'll be back after I clean all the buttons and stuff off. Okay, I'm back. Everything is cleaned to its fullest extent. Got all the buttons clean. The only thing I didn't clean was the D-pad because it's actually really clean. And all the rubbers because they are also really clean, especially the white ones are actually still like white. You would think they'd be like brown, light brown or beige over time, which would be gross. But so, first thing you are going to do to put it back together is take the top half of the controller that has all the button holes and put all the buttons back in. So we'll drop the D-pad in, and this little piece right here, it looks like a robot hand. It goes in a specific way, and it goes in on an angle like this to the controller. I'm not sure how well you can see this, but it goes in like this. If I could get, I just got it in first try last time. Wait, let me put it in, then I'll show you what it looks like. It's supposed to go in on an angle like that. I'm not sure how well you can see that, but that's the best I can give you. So then you're going to want to put all the other little buttons and trinkets back in. Don't think trinket is the word to use to describe a button though. And just like every other controller, the triangle, circle, square, and X buttons all have little notches in them to show you where they go. I personally never play PlayStation games because obviously this isn't my controller, so I have no clue how these buttons even go in, and I just got one stuck because I put it in the wrong spot. I know triangle goes up top, that's all I know, and X is where an A button would be. Alright. Alright, once you got all those buttons in, you can take the rubber for them and put them back over. And the reason, the rubber for the D-pad and those buttons are very similar, as you can see here. The D-pad is the one with a circle hole in the middle. The buttons are like a more oval circle in the middle, and that's how you know. The other rubber over. Then good. This is really easy. The rubber for the start, analog, and select buttons is all one piece. It's no buttons with rubbers. It's just a rubber. It's really easy. So then you're going to take the one pieces and put them back into place, making sure that they're on the right side and facing the right way. Also is a big deal, I guess. Now, putting the two halves of the controller is going to be relatively difficult, but you're going to take the brain, and before you put it in, you want to make sure that these black things weren't popped out of their little plastic cradles. See, this black thing is just hanging here. You want it to be in this hole right here, or else the controller won't work. Or it'll work, but it won't fit back together. This controller's like falling apart in my hand. This piece of plastic's broken, which is not a good sign, but I definitely didn't do that. Alright, so take the two halves of the controller and flip them back together. And it's going to take some maneuvering to get things like the what's it called? The like bumper button thing. The bumper button. It's going to take some maneuvering to get that into the right spot. It's going to take maneuvering to get everything in the right spot because these controllers were designed poorly. Not so much poorly, but poorly to put back together if you took it apart. So actually it's easier if you take the one buttons out. I shouldn't have told you to put them in. If you did, just take them back out. And these things, these little like towers, I guess, just slide in. Is this the wrong one? I feel like it's the wrong one. No, it wasn't. I was just putting it in the wrong way like an idiot. So once you slide those back into place, you can put your one buttons back in. And then you're going to take your other half of the controller. Be careful when setting the top half down, because if you push too hard down on it, thumbsticks will push against the surface and it'll push the whole brain back out, which you obviously don't want. So you're going to take your other half of the controller now and put your two buttons back in. You have to put them in from this side, you can't put them in from the other side. I just tried like an idiot. Alright, and once you got that, you're going to try to keep the two buttons angled down the entire time you're doing this, and put the other half back on. Now this is not an easy task to feat, is lining the two halves back up, especially when your two button falls out like mine is. It may take a few attempts, and you may knock these things out in the process and you have to put them back in, which is a pain, I know. But if you do, just keep trying, because you already have a controller that's in two halves, so you might as well keep trying until you get it put back together. So I'm going to get this together off camera so you don't have to watch me struggle the entire time. Okay, once you finally got your parts lined up, took me quite a while actually. Once you finally got your two parts lined up, you're going to put in You're going to put in all 6 of the screws, obviously the 2 down here, the 2 up here, and then the 2 in the middle. I've already taken the liberty of doing that because there was nothing I really had to talk about while screwing them in like I usually do. So that's basically it. So everything works, all the buttons work, the 2 things aren't sticky anymore, the analog sticks work, everything works fine. So that's pretty much it. So thank you for watching, everyone, and please leave a like or a subscribe or tell me what you want me to clean and restore in the comment section below.